Hey everybody, I'm Yvonne Williams with Back to Earth Creations, and in this video I'm visiting one of my older designs, which by the magic of editing might be appearing... I don't know, I'm not really good at editing, but it should be up on the screen right now. And so I am going to, 10 years later, try to recreate this piece as accurately as possible. So we'll see how that goes, so let's get started. So for this tutorial, you will need a wire jig of your choice. Here I'm going to be using a metal variety, but you could also use a plastic wig jig. Those work really great too. And you can see I have some pegs set up. From the back side, you can see it's just a 3x3 square. 3 pegs by 3 pegs all the way around, equidistant, just kind of skipping a spot in between them. But here on the front side you can see some variation is made with the sizes of the pegs. I'm using the largest, the mediums, and the smalls. The mediums are the corners of the square and the smalls are alternate in between them. So that's how that comes out. Now also, all the tools and materials will be listed down below in the video description, along with Amazon affiliate links. But I've got nylon jaw pliers, flush cutters, and round nose pliers. I'm also going to be using 18 gauge parawire. I really enjoy their wire because even if you decide to hammer this, it holds up really well, even through hammering. And we'll be using maybe, at most, like 2 feet of that. Then the always optional jeweler's hammer and anvil for if you decide to hammer the piece for some nice texture. And so I'm going to start in a very simplistic kind of way, just with the end of our 18 gauge wire coming through, kind of following along this inside edge of the pegs. And I'm giving myself enough tail that I can kind of hold it down with my thumb. And then I'm going to wrap around and come down. Now this is a multi-layer pendant too. So I'm going to start by just wrapping around each of the corner pieces. And feel free to pick up and rotate your board, your jig, and coming around. And so now I've done one complete rotation, and I'm going to go around our center peg. Which, feel free to experiment with some different variations of, same pattern but different, like weaving, steps. Sorry, words are hard. So now I'm going to come around from the top of our circle and loop the small pegs. And I use my fingernail to really push it down to try to keep things more flat and 2D. I don't want it to be building up the pegs too much. Rotating, oops. You can see that will happen sometimes. If your wire slips the jig, just carefully put it back on. Bringing that around. And to our last little peg. Oh, we already went around that one. So I'm actually going to leave that right there. And I'm going to slide this off. And you can see from directly ahead, kind of makes a little bit of a pattern. Whereas from the side, oh, it's still quite spread out. So I'm actually going to bring this down and position it where I want it. And use, starting with this back tail, what was the beginning of our wire, I'm going to bend around this join here. And I'm going to wait to trim that tail though. And now this longer piece here, I'm going to do a little bit of a messy weave because I like it. Just vine it around the other pieces. And again, trying to keep these little loops equidistant of each other. And I'm just coming around, looping. It's almost, if you're familiar with sewing, basically just doing a whip stitch to secure it with the wire. And I'm holding it very firmly with my fingers. And if it gets to where you're having problems, this 18 gauge can kind of be tough to work with. So if you're having problems, don't hesitate to bring in the assistance of a pair of pliers. Especially to just grab and pull, keep things nice and tight and snug. So you can see how that's coming along. Just pushing it up and through to get the idea, and then using the pliers to bend it around, because also this will become increasingly work hardened as you build your design. And so now we're on our last bit. There we go. We could make a curly Q here. We could add another little loop to have a charm hanging down. This would be the time to add maybe just like you could place your thumbnail or the tip of your pliers or something to make a little bit of a space that you could hook onto. But I'm going to bring it up and around quite snugly if I can manage it. So here on the back you can see how those two wires will sit kind of comfortably side by side to each other. If I can get my wires to get along like that, I'll take it. So that's how it's coming along. Now also, this is going to be the front of the pendant, and you could always decide to make this into earrings or just what have you. I'm going to leave these two little bits of tail, though you could always snip them off and smush them down. But I'm going to take it as close to the tip of the pliers and as close to the tip of the wire as I can. And just come down and make a nice little curly Q, being careful to not let my pliers slip off the wire. Because with this enameled wire, if it slips, sometimes the tips of the plier can pinch the enamel off. That's more a user error than necessarily the product, because even if you're working with an 18 gauge bare copper, you can still pinch and damage the wire with your pliers. So it's just something to be mindful of. So I'm going to grip it again. And I'm doing this like rotation, like using a screwdriver with my hand. So I'm going to grip it and then bring it around. And bring it around. Just like that, and that can give it some nice little decoration. Again, completely optional, but I like swirlies, so well, spirals. Okay, and so now we can position our little pegs a little better. I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers and grip it and just kind of direct them to sit maybe a little bit more equidistant, or if I want them clustered up closer to the top edge or closer to the the sides, we could kind of decide from there. But I'm just gripping and kind of twerking it around a little bit. So inserting my pliers, bringing them down, and there we go. That's much more kind of equidistant, what I was going for. So now from here, we could hammer this. We could keep it nice and three-dimensional. We could, from this little loop here, have a charm hanging down. but I want to suspend a crystal from side to side. Like, you can lay it down on the table. I want a little crystal sitting right in there like that. And I'm going to be using a 28 gauge titanium toned silver plated, it's a mouthful, titanium toned silver plated enameled copper. So it's copper core that's been silver plated and then enameled with the titanium color. I really like this one. This is probably my favorite because it looks like a slightly antiqued silver. So I'm only going to need about 12 to 14 inches of this wire. Snip. And it's quite thin, so we're going to be doing a lot of doubling up on this. And so what I'm going to do is take our crystal here, and you could use any kind of bead or anything, and I'm going to push the wire through like this so that it makes a loop. Because I don't want it to look quite so naked on the front. Because, I mean, it does without that little wire, but there you can see that gives it a really nice little, just something going on, make it look secure. And I'm going to bring this around right through here. There's kind of a little separation between the layers. And I'm just going to bring that through and around. I'm not going to bind it off to anything yet. I'm just going to kind of slip it through there. And slip it through very similarly on the other side. I hope you can see it's kind of hard to tell. I tried to use different metal tones, but it's just right through, right there. Pull that on through. And so now we can start binding it off. And we can get however artsy-fartsy or creative as we would like here. We could, another option is to put a very small, like probably a 1 to 2 millimeter bead on either side of our crystal, but that's entirely up to you. So I'm actually just going to use these shoulder loops, the small loops. Sorry, I refer to my pendants almost as if it's a little body. This would be the head, these are the shoulders, these are the bottom. So it's kind of, that way I don't know, just to explain what I'm talking about. And I'm gonna do anywhere from 5 to 10 rotations of just kind of sewing this wire through, stitching it around. I want it to be very secure and short of the wire breaking, which with a thinner wire like this could be very well be something, but there's not a whole lot of movement with our pendant here, and there's not a whole lot of opportunity for the stone to get snagged with where it's laying, so I'm not too worried about it. But it is definitely something to keep in mind. If I were using a 24 gauge wire, that would probably be, more durable. But again, though, I've had similar pieces to this. This is originally a design I did about 10 years ago. And it's always nice to see pieces in the wild, but they're still holding up really well. So again, I don't think I'm going to have to worry about it. Okay. Making sure it's nice and centered. And then I'm just going to start stitching around on the other side as well. Now, you could coil around your thicker wire before doing any of the sculpting on the jig, and then try to incorporate the wrapping like this to make it look invisible, like very, very subtle. So your creativity really is boundless here. Do whatever you can think of and, you know, just see what comes up. There we go. Trying to keep it centered up along that, lined up along the center line. Then you also always have the option, ooh, I like that, of flipping it over so that you can't see that wire and it looks like it's just suspended. I'm gonna do one more. Oh, that was backwards. I didn't realize I was unstitching it. You could also come through with some little beads and like tuck in some other little gemstone beads around the edges. Like, I don't know. I just wanted to give you guys a foundation design that you could do as simply as you want, or make as ornate and intricate as you would like. Man, words are hard today. Okay, so there we are. And to finish it off, I'm just going to snip with my flush cutters and then use my bent nose pliers to bend that tail down just as tight and snug as we can get it. There we go. And there we go. Double check, make sure there's no pokey bits. So there we are, you guys. Now also, just to show you a different version, using basically the same jig pattern, I used a 16 gauge anodized aluminum and then hammered the heck out of it, both with a nylon and brass head. So again, your creativity, the variety of materials that you have on hand, metal tones, gemstone colors, so many different things that you could do to get variation with this. And with the assistance of the jig, it's actually very easy to make earrings. You know, make two things that match, which for me can be really challenging. Hey guys, so I'm really pleased with how this came out, actually. Normally I have my forehead makes apparently a good backdrop. But I usually have a really hard time recreating pieces like very similarly. And I feel like this really came out quite similar to the old piece, to the old version. It came out, I think, a lot neater, like tidier, cleaner, more efficient wire work. Because that's on the older piece, there was quite a bit of like wrapping, trying to get everything to like hold together and figure out where to bind off loose ends. And I'm like, I don't know, just keep wrapping. Like, and so with this one though, I really feel like it was clean, efficient, did its thing. So at the end of this video, I will have pictures of them side by side, as close to good replication of like angle and, you know, zoomed inness. Scale, I don't know, zoomed inness. So, and then also to show you guys, or you could go crazy with it and try something completely different. There's no telling. I actually think, oh y'all, I kind of want to take a cabochon, possibly a dragonite, and set it on here and do a fractal wrap through those loops. So ideas. For sure. If you guys have any questions, comments, or ideas, please feel free to leave one down below. I love hearing from you guys. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. Again, all the links to social media and everything are down below. If you enjoy my free tutorials and would like to support the creation of them, please like, share, and subscribe, and just keep watching and enjoying. If you like, check out my Patreon. Pledges start at just $1 a month, so a little goes a long way over here, you guys. It might just be $1 to y'all, which is like a candy bar, but to us, it's a world of difference, and it gets you entered into our fairy house giveaways and craft crate, well, the craft crates get mailed out monthly, but sometimes I give some away to the giveaway tiers and stuff. And so we're always trying new things and having fun over there, so be sure to check it out. But until next time, thank you, and I will see you in my next video. So happy crafting. Bye.